What's up, everybody? Welcome to Move the Sticks. DJ Buck with you. Buck, what is going on, man?
Not too much, DJ. It's funny because we're at the midway point of the season. And so, you have these little projects, mid-season awards, who's on your mid-season all-pro team. So just kind of doing some of this stuff.
No, that's fun. Yeah, it's weird. That's the one thing I don't like about the 17 games and would almost look forward to it if we ever did go to 18 because there's just no like perfect divider there. It's got an odd number. We need an even number of games, man.
Yeah, and then with all the different bye weeks, some people have them early, some people have them later. It's not like a perfect system for when you have these mid-season things.
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other night. Obviously, we focus on sports. We don't do politics, but the way people like were consuming the election the other night, it sounded like the ratings were way down, and everybody kind of has their YouTube show, their social media things that they're doing like that. And I'm sitting here going, I was trying to think of it from a sports standpoint, like, it's just those days are never coming back, right? Where everybody just kind of has one game on and just watching, we're all watching the same thing. Everybody's going to get their games and information in their own way.
It's funny that you bring it up about politics, because I do feel like, and I felt like over the last decade that the political sphere has become more game-like, right? I feel like now more than ever, the coverage has been kind of tilted more like sports, where it's this competitive interest, you're doing thing. And I also
my team, your team. Oh, this is my commentator. Yeah. That's your
yeah. And I also feel like along the lines, blue and red, like people have become probably more team-like. Oh, I'm on the red team.
I thought you were going to say gang. I thought you were going to say blue and red, like more gang-like, Buck.
Yeah, but no, like more team-like. And I don't feel like it has always been like that. Like I felt like it allowed for discussion. And I don't think you have kind of that, like people are on their line and whatever their team is.
Oh, I think it's hot take. I think the hot takeism that's taken over. This is my theory on it. We'll get into the football stuff, the real stuff in just a minute. But this is my take. TV went heavy into hot takeism, argumentative debate TV.
It's ruined. It's ruined everything. It's ruined a lot of this stuff.
So, and now politics is, maybe you could go back to like old school, like CNN, like Crossfire, like that's always, I think that started in politics and then it then it's in sports. But now in my opinion, what's happened is someone is a sports fan, first and foremost, like I don't care for any of that stuff. So I'm consuming more and more of my sports on podcasts, on maybe YouTube stuff, sports wise, because they've made that's unwatchable for me. Like I want nothing to do with that. And it's same politically, even, whatever political stuff I get, I'm probably going to listen to a podcast, or I'll listen to an interview. I'll read something over here. But like, I think maybe we'll get to the point where TV will realize like hot takeism, like we're over that, man.
We've run its course. And it's funny because a lot of the reaction, they were talking about the influence of podcasters and how so many of the young people really consume their information and made decisions based on like how they were impacted off podcasts. And I think it gives us hope when we talk about influencing in terms of like learning the game and doing those things to give good product, and people will follow and they'll listen. They're assuming they'll take with it what they want. But hopefully we get to that point. But yeah, you're right. The election coverage was definitely different than it has been in the past. Different. Not the same, I would say not the same energy or zest or appeal that he's had in the past. And so I think that's part of like the fatigue of the hot takeism that we've also seen impact sports coverage.
Yeah. And again, like that, if you want to figure out who you're going to vote for, like go listen to conversations with those folks and then figure out which side. Well, I don't care who you vote for, but like listen to those. Don't be told who to vote for or do things like that. And I think it's the same with sports. Like, we have access, you guys listening right now or watching right now have access to all 22 tape. That didn't used to be the case. You used to have to get your information on players. Yes. And like a lot of times you adopted your opinions on players based off what somebody was telling you on a TV show, because we all had access to stuff they don't have access to. That's not the case anymore.
No, everyone is open and everyone's able to make their own decision, their own opinion based on what they see. And to me, that is great, because for so long, you're right, people didn't have access to the all 22. It's amazing how that was, right? And how people fought hard not to give people access to the all 22.
Yeah, because that was their comeback, right? Because you could get challenged. Like you said, this guy, stinks, but I watch it. Like, no, you watch TV. I watch all 22. Yeah, you don't know because I know because I'm. Well, you can't say that anymore. And I think it's been great because it's allowed it. And this is, and I'm going off on the side here, and this we'll get back. We'll get the train back on track. But I know you get the same calls and texts that I do of, I want to break into sports media, or I'm interested in scouting. Like, how do I get started? And with the change in technology, it's never been easier. So it used to be, and my stock answer was, okay, you want to try and get involved. So you go to your local radio station, you're going to volunteer, you're going to intern, you're going to then try and learn how things work. And then maybe they'll let you start doing some updates, and then maybe start, go to the local TV set. Like, no, start a podcast, start a YouTube show. You got a phone, you got a computer, like you can start, anybody can start this. And then it's, okay, now you work on let's watch YouTube videos on how to market my podcasts or my videos. Or if I want to get into scouting, I've got access to all 22 tape. I can start watching things, go back and go through our series where we did the prototype series. And it literally is a teaching series of how to scout players. You can start watching all 22, start writing reports. There's just, it's a totally
so
different
many things. So you talk about visual and audio, but how about newsletters? Like we've seen all these different hosting sites where you can create your own newsletter to put out there for people. So whether you talk about it and a few different things, whether you present it on TV or YouTube, whether you write about it on your own platform, there's so many different ways to get your thoughts, your opinion, your analysis out there. You just have to be bold enough to go out there, and then you have to be willing to be consistent and persistent when it comes to giving the content.
Yeah. And on the scouting side of things, there's all these colleges have massive recruiting departments. If you're in college and you're interested and want to be involved in scouting, go knock on the door. I guarantee you they'll find some letters you can stuff and kind of get your foot in the door and start learning that side of things. So anyways, I wanted to get that. It's an interesting conversation. I'm always curious what your thoughts is, if you were the same as me on that, Buck, but it's just different. It's different. And I think in a lot of ways it's going in a good direction from that standpoint of how you have access to information you never had before.
Yeah, look, I do think it's interesting. And I do encourage people, because even the scouting world is changing. Like, hey, be daring, be bold, go after it. Like whatever your dream is, if it's to get into, the scouting world, you just got to go after it. Be persistent.
Yep, no question. All right, we're going to get to the game of the week in just a little bit here, but I have an exercise. We've talked a little bit about this, but I wanted to really go through it. So here's what we're going to do. We've talked about this, quarterback class coming up. It's not super exciting. It's not being lauded around the league either. There's going to be a number of teams looking for starters. There's going to be a lot of jobs open, and we have kicked around the idea of, hey, everybody's trying to find their Baker Mayfield, their Sam Darnold, and Geno. And Geno's not playing as well this year, but that's the examples. So I've compiled a decently long list here, Buck, and we're going to do this like it's like The Bachelor, like a reality show. So I'm going to give you the name. You just give me. We're going to start with just a simple like thumbs up, thumbs down. Like they would be interesting, right? So I'll go through the list. I'll check all the ones that you said will be interesting. And then we'll take that list and we're going to try and shrink it down to the 5 most desirable bounce back quarterbacks that we would be targeting in what could be an interesting quarterback offseason. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right, here we go. We'll start with Jimmy G. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
We got to be thumbs down because I never see him. He's always been hurt. So it's hard to put a lot in it. So thumbs down.
Okay. Sam Howell.
Yes. I would take a look. I would kick the tires. Haven't had a chance to see him, but he's young enough to maybe throw a little something at him to see if he can develop into something beyond a backup quarterback.
Yeah, I think I think that was a name that I, going through the depth charts, that was when I was like, oh, interesting. I kind of forgot about Sam. He's up there in Seattle. Andy Dalton.
I'm done. I think I've seen what it is. He, to me, is an emergency fill-in quarterback at this stage.
I'm with you. All right. The next one is interesting. I mean, this one's going to be on the list. It's going to be number 1, most likely. It would have to be a trade, I would imagine, with Sam Darnold. But let's just say they decide to do – there's a precedent, right? You had Kansas City. Alex Smith was still playing good football, but they had Mahomes, and so they move Alex Smith. Mahomes gets the starting job. I'm not saying that happens this year. I would guess maybe a year out, but potentially that could be, hey, JJ McCarthy will be our guy. We'll franchise tag and trade Sam. That would put him. I'm going to highlight him. I don't know if he's going to be out there, but I would think as we go through these names, he would be at the very top of the list.
It has to be. And he's played so well for Kevin O'Connell. Why wouldn't you explore the possibility of Sam Darnold being your starting quarterback? Yeah, that he has to be at the top of the list, I would think.
Yep. Malik Willis.
Well, after the reclamation project that is taking place in Green Bay, he's back in the mix. He's back in the conversation for sure.
He gets the thumbs up. Tyson Bagent.
I know there's some love on the street, so I would say I will keep him alive.
He makes it to the first round.
Yeah, he'll make it.
He gets a rose on the first round.
We'll give him a chance. We're going from 25 down. That's what it is. So the rose.
Yeah.
The rose part, the first rose ceremony, final ceremony.
Okay. We have this is the first one. I'm gonna ask you the question on this. How old do you think Marcus Mariota is?
He has to be 30 plus now, right? He has to be like 30, 31. He's in the league.
He's 31. Why did I think he was like 34? He's 31 is not that old.
But he seems like he's been in the league a long time.
I know. He came in, I think he might have come in at 20. He came in young.
Yeah, many. You know what, DJ? He did probably come in young. Because you remember when he started playing at Oregon, he was like kind of babyface, like the babyface prodigy. You remember how much they raved about him as a quarterback there? Yeah, so maybe that's what it is.
Mariota to be your bounce back starter, or are we thinking he's cemented himself as a backup?
Let's get him through to the next round. And the only reason is because I think his draft mate is going to get to the next round. So I think we have to at least kind of keep the tires through the preliminaries.
Okay. Kenny Pickett. People forget about Kenny Pickett. He's with Philly now.
I don't know. I wasn't as impressed.
Okay. You can't say yes to everybody. We got to eliminate some people off here.
I wouldn't give him a rose.
Okay. Drew Lock.
I don't think I would give him a rose either. I think we kind of know what he is.
Trey Lance.
Gosh, that's an unknown. Such an unknown, right? Like, because we thought we were going to find out a lot in the preseason.
I don't know. Dak's hurt now, and he's not even going to get the run now because it's going to be Cooper Rush. Yeah.
So sometimes you have to listen to what the other teams are telling you that have them every day. So let's bypass Trey Lance right now.
Okay, moving on. This is an interesting one. Just for a couple years, Taylor Heineke.
God, man, I mean, how many times can we do this, though?
I'm just saying. I'm giving you the names. I'm giving you the power. I'm giving you the power.
I'm a pass. I'm a pass on Taylor
Heineke. Carson Wentz.
I want to see him play. He hasn't played the last two stops.
You think Andy can sprinkle some of that magic dust on him?
Maybe he needs to play for him, though. We need at least a game to see him play under Andy, so Andy can lay the blueprint out. Gosh, DJ, when was the last time he played? Was it Indianapolis?
No, he played with the Rams, right?
Did he get in the game?
Yeah, he played a little bit. I'll tell you, I'll pull it up right now.
I'm hemming and hawing on him. Let's move him.
Well, hold on. Let me tell. I'm gonna wait till I can tell you. I want you to make an informed decision here. So let me give you. I'm gonna pull up the KC roster. I'm gonna click on Wentz. Stats. This is 23. Yeah, he was with the Rams, 2 games, 17 for 24, 2 touchdowns, a pick, 163 yards with a 90.2 rating. That was in 23. In 22 with Washington, 8 games, completed 62.3%, 1,700 plus yards, 11 touchdowns, 9 picks. He's got, what's interesting? You look at his career numbers, Buck.
Not bad, right?
63%, 22,000 yards, 153 touchdowns, 67 picks.
Let's move him through to the next round.
He gets to the next. I just wanted to give you the numbers. All right, so Wentz moves on. Zach Wilson.
After seeing the disaster that the Jets have been, let's give Zach an opportunity.
Gets to the next round.
Yeah.
Okay. Jarrett Stidham. There's a lot of names, man. I'm telling you, there's a lot of candidates for this.
Gosh. He's been fine, but I'm good. I'm good on Jared Stidham.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
I'm good on him.
Mason Rudolph, who's been playing starting for Tennessee while Levis is out.
He kind of tricked us a little bit. I think he's a backup quarterback. So this is just for like who we think has starting potential.
Yeah. Who could be? Look, our North Star is Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold. Like, think those two names. Like, we want somebody that can be that.
Yeah. No. Okay. We'll leave Mason. We'll leave Mason behind. We'll leave him.
Mac Jones.
We're going to advance him to the line. He may get an opportunity this weekend to get in that game.
Okay. Joe Flacco, 50-year-old Joe Flacco. He's kind of in the backup category, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the backup. Come on, we can't do this long term.
Justin Fields.
Oh yeah, we got to kick the tires.
Yeah. Record. Okay. Jameis. I'm probably not the right person to vote on Jameis because I was in the building last week. Through 3, could have been 6. Going the wrong way.
But I think that's what he is, though. No matter what. Whatever he was the first week, you got the correction. Then he'll find somewhere in the middle. I let Mariota through, right?
Yeah, you got to. They got to travel together.
Yeah, they travel together. Hey. And so we cut him. We cut him the next round. Then we cut him. I think.
I was going to say this is like a plane that lands, and they say if you're continuing with us on to the destination, please remain in your seats. However, if this is your final destination, get up and please exit the plane. They're going to be holding hands walking down the aisle. Tyrod.
No, we're done with Tyrod.
Okay. Come on. Jacoby Brissett should be in. I mean, we've seen that. That's no.
We're
another Tar Heel Trubisky.
No, we're done. We're done with this.
And then lastly, Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I keep Daniel Jones.
Okay, so here I'm gonna give you the number. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've got 10. We've got 10 candidates. We got to shrink it to 5. So we need to eliminate 5 names. Okay. Do you have a pen, Buck? Can you write these down? I'll give them to you. I'm gonna write them in the. I can write them in the chat too. So we've got Daniel Jones. We have Fields, Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, Wentz, Mariota. Bajent made the initial cut. Malik Willis, Darnold, Howell.
Malik Willis.
So you gotta find 5 to trim from there. So let's start. Let's just eliminate the 5 that are out, and then we'll rank the 5 that are left. Sound good?
Okay, so I know who we're getting rid of. Like right away, we can get rid of Jameis. We can get rid of Marcus Mariota.
Okay, hold on one second. Let me get these crossed off here. So Jameis is gone. Mariota is gone. That's 2. You got to get rid of 3 more.
Let's get rid of Carson Wentz.
Okay, Wentz is gone. 2 more.
Let's get rid of Bajent.
1 more.
Let's see who else.
This is where it's interesting because I think that this kind of I think there's a line after these 6. So I think it almost could be 6. So if you want to, we can make an adjustment and rank these top 6.
Okay, because I got
we have Jones, Fields, Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, Malik Willis, Darnold, Howell.
Yeah, that's it. Mac Jones.
No, I have 7 on here left then, right? Is that right? Yeah, you need to dump. Sorry, I had the math wrong. There was 11 initial, so you need to dump 1 more than we can do the top 6.
All right. So now here's the thing, because we're doing the Baker Mayfield. So we're using Baker Mayfield as the thing. All right. So technically, with Baker Mayfield being the standard, normally it's a former first-round pick that we had a lot of regard for in the draft.
Yep.
Well,
how about this? Here's what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do this. I'm going to say Sam Darnold goes in his own category, and that would be a trade. Okay. So we're going to put Darnold as like an asterisk. He's by himself.
Okay.
So that's going to take Darnold off the board. So now with the names
that makes sense because I would say these guys are aspiring to do what Sam Darnold has done,
Yes.
which is what Baker Mayfield has done. So
Yes.
now I like the list, and I like it even better because there's some stuff that I can work with when it comes to being able to rank them out. So I like this part of it. So I can work with these guys.
So all right, now this is going to go. Let's go. Your number one option amongst these guys. If you're a team and you say we're trying to not only get somebody who can start for us this year, but might end up being our starter going forward, like we believe in him like that. Who would that be? Number one.
I would go with the guy who's probably started more games than anybody on the list, and I would say Daniel Jones.
I'm with you.
I think with Daniel Jones, what you're getting is, let's take him out of the New York market where every throw has been criticized. Let's take him out of New York where he has had to do a lot. And when you remove Saquon Barkley, I don't think he's ever been afforded a true number one receiver. Let's take Daniel Jones out. I believe Daniel Jones, you put him in the right environment, right coach, right situation, he can thrive. I'm not saying that he is the driving force of the offense, but I certainly believe he can be a high-end trailer. It reminds me of, in a different way, but it reminds me of Jared Goff. I think you have to see him in another thing before you get a full appreciation of the skills that he brings to the table.
Yeah, I just think let's boil it down to simple facts. Big, athletic, he's got a good arm, he's smart, he's tough. Like those 5 factors. We can talk about all the other issues that have popped up and existed, but those are, I think those are irrefutable on that front. So that's a good foundation. So Daniel Jones is our number one target right now if we're looking for a veteran to come in as our quarterback. All right, who's number 2?
Number 2, from a talent standpoint, I'll take Justin Fields number 2.
Okay.
And even though I know what the limitations might be as a passer, he jumped in for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He won games. He is what I say. He has a superpower in his athleticism and running skills that separates him from the rest. So give me Justin Fields at 2.
So I think there's 2 quarterbacks that ride together, and for me it's 2 and 3. I think there's 2 and 3, and they're interesting for the same reasons because of the flashes that we've seen. Because I think the argument, if you're we're in a personnel department and we're kicking this around, I'm going to say we're going to have a Malik Willis, Justin Fields conversation of who we think would be best for us moving forward. Don't you think that's a fair conversation to have with those 2 guys?
Yeah, because you know what the other conversation I would then have? I wonder what the Green Bay Packers would have done with Justin Fields if he was the guy that was thrust in that situation. What would Matt LaFleur have done to unlock his stuff?
Yeah,
because if we can see Malik Willis, do that in a small sample size in Green Bay, what would they do with Justin Fields? So yeah, that's not a bad conversation.
And to be honest with you, Fields didn't play bad. Fields didn't play bad this year in Pittsburgh.
Nope.
So we're going to do that. We're going to go Malik Willis 3.
Yeah, let's go him 3. He's in there.
All right, now you get the
okay. So now, so now we're beginning to think about pedigree and talent and those things. And the conversation that I would have, DJ, in the front office would be, all right, let's look at Mac Jones and let's look at Zach Wilson. Both first-round picks.
Yeah,
both are really talented.
Same draft, right?
Same draft. Both got cast aside for different reasons. It was more feel, do they like it, love it, personality, how does that work or whatever. I would say Zach Wilson is more talented. I think Mac Jones
he played better. He's had better. I said a better season than Zach's ever had.
He's been a Pro
Zach's
Bowler,
more talented.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Mac Jones at 4. I'll put Zach Wilson at 5.
You go Zach at 5, which leaves Sam Howell, right?
Yeah.
So what we've just done, Buck, that's everybody, right? I didn't leave anybody out.
No.
So what we've just done then is we've given NFL teams the project to do. And then you are then going to, as a lot of the decision makers haven't had a chance to dig deep into the quarterback class yet. When you're watching Shedeur Sanders, when you're watching Jackson Dart, when you're watching Cam Ward, you're going to have these 6 names in your head, and you're going to say, where do these quarterbacks in this draft slide in amongst these other players? Because these other players have experience in the NFL and they have ability. I think we can agree on that. And they're young. Like that would be the other thing to pull up if we were to pull up the ages on these players, that would be an interesting part of the exercise, because I'm just looking at it going, okay, I know these guys have taken NFL snaps. I know they know NFL defenses. There's going to be less of an adjustment there. And we have, with these other examples, recent guys that have had success going on. Daniel Jones is 27 years old, so he's still young. But there you go. That's the list. We have it. Daniel Jones, number 1, Justin Fields, 2, Malik Willis, 3, Mac Jones, 4, Zach Wilson, 5, Sam Howell, 6, with the caveat that Sam Darnold would most likely won't just be a free agent coming off of the year that he's having right now, would require a trade. He would be his own entity there. I think those are some interesting names and a fun exercise.
It is a fun exercise. And, like when you frame it under the guise of Baker Mayfield, right? Baker Mayfield running around finding his sea legs, first in LA a little bit, but really in Tampa. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it also goes to show you right now, using Baker, just the importance of the environment, all the things that we talk about 3 Ps, whatever you want to use to determine it. But the environment matters when it comes to the success of the quarterback. And just because one fails at one destination doesn't mean that he's going to fail at another one. And it may mean he have multiple failures. So I think it's always worth exploring, particularly when they're young enough, the talent. And DJ, going forward, we're going to see more of these things because guys are putting guys too soon. We may be talking about Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson being on the market in the offseason as reclamation projects.
That's that fast. I mean, it's crazy, right?
Nuts.
So there you go. That's a fun exercise for us. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back with the game of the week.
It's time for the game of the week presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. This week, this is a good one, DJ. The Steelers at the Commanders. The spread is -3, favoring the Commanders. The over-under is 45. Before we even break down the game, DJ, I don't know. And it's funny to talk about someone who is just beginning his second stint as a head coach, but I don't know if there's a better leader of men than the 2 guys that we're seeing in Mike Tomlin and Dan Quinn. When you hear the things that are coming out from the Commanders locker room about the culture, the environment, how he's challenged people, how he's made it a very competitive situation in the team where everything is about the competition, how you hear him talk about Marshawn Lattimore when they acquired him. He talked about he got the right stuff. This isn't a player that we're looking at right now, but one that we would have our eyeballs on in the offseason. Dan Quinn, to me, and one of the reasons why sometimes in the second stint, Dan Quinn has a clear vision for how he wants his team built. And I am loving the way the Commanders are rocking. And then in Mike Tomlin, you can say that for however long he's been the coach at Pittsburgh Steelers, he's always had a very clear path for how he wants his team to play. We can talk about the reclamation projects that he took on this offseason with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, but then adding a Preston Smith to the mix. These teams are interesting because the people at the top, the leaders, are really relationship builders and team builders. And so it's been interesting to watch the culture of both teams kind of come to fruition this season.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the post by the Commanders official X account. They had an image of the Ohio State recruiting class from back in the day, which was Noah Brown, Terry McLaurin, Marshawn Lattimore, and I think the last one maybe Jalen Holmes. Like 4, they have 4 guys from that team. Yeah, it was Jalen Holmes was the other one. Interesting to see. Like we always talk about Philly kind of collecting the Bulldogs, all the collection of Georgia players. And then here you've got the Commanders who go out and collected a bunch of Ohio State guys. For those that don't know, Buck, what was it like? Did you play in the NFL in your time? Did you ever have a teammate, a Tar Heel on your team?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. With Natron Means. So Nate.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Natron and I played together in Jacksonville. And DJ, it's not uncommon, from the scouting business. I mean, sometimes you shop at the same store. If a team has been winning, like why wouldn't you go to a team that is winning at a high level? In building a team and really building a culture, you want winners in the locker room because they understand the sacrifices that are needed to be made to win. You think about Ohio State and how good those Ohio State teams were. Why wouldn't you want to tap into that? You talk about them being in the same recruiting class. I hadn't thought about that, but that's a natural field and synergy that when you're Dan Quinn and you're like, hey, let's go talk to Terry McLaurin. Terry, hey, tell me a little bit about Marshawn. You guys were together.
Yeah.
He can give you the scoop on, nah, coach, don't listen to all that stuff on the outside. Here's what he really is. To me, that's valuable outside of the player that he was, that Terry saw every day at Ohio State.
I also think in this game on the other side, I don't know if we'll get to see Mike Williams yet, but those are two teams that made moves at the trade deadline that we thought made a lot of sense. Obviously more high end there with Marshawn Lattimore, but it felt like Mike Williams is a nice blend and a nice fit for what they need there in Pittsburgh. When we look at this game specifically, though, Buck, key, if you're going to say it came down to one thing to decide this game, what is it?
Pittsburgh's pass rush versus Jaden Daniels.
Yep.
I find it interesting that the Steelers have done what we've talked about sometimes, building strength on strength. You go and get Preston Smith to add to a pass rush, but you got TJ Watt, Highsmith, Nick Herbert. You have guys that can already get after it. So now you can throw waves of bodies at, I would say this, one of the more dynamic and explosive young quarterbacks that we've seen in a long time. The poise that Jaden Daniels has displayed, the fact that this team only has 3 turnovers, you're going to need to heat him up to see if you can get him out of his comfort zone and force him into a mistake that is costly. The matchup to me is their front four, their pass rush against a dynamic quarterback that looks like a superstar.
Yeah, my one thought on this game is that if you're Cliff Kingsbury, and this hasn't been an issue really for Jaden, but I am doing so many drills this week, Buck, with pocket movement and keeping your offhand on the ball. Hey, TJ Watt's going to win 1 or 2, hopefully not more, but he's going to win. He's going to get to you.
Yeah.
We can survive 2nd and 17, but we got to keep possession of the ball because he is really good at getting home and knocking that thing out. So that to me is an area of emphasis for the Commanders. Every time I've kind of doubted them and their offensive line, they find ways to get it done and give themselves a chance. I just think that's a tough place to go. It's at the Commanders. It is a home game. That is good news for the Commanders. I think up front at some point in time, it's just the talent-wise up front slants heavily in favor of Pittsburgh. So I'm going to lean in that direction, but it's going to be a great game, a great test. You got 6-2 Steelers, 7-2 Commanders, easily the game of the day. I'll go with the Steelers in a close, hard-fought game just because I believe a little bit more in the guys, the actual talent they have up front.
First thing I look for in these matchups are the quarterback. And to me, the quarterback debate tips heavy in the Commanders' favor in terms of how Jay Daniels has played, what he brings, how he can energize this team. Every week it seems like he does something that only strengthens the bond between him and his teammates with his performance. It was a Hail Mary a couple of weeks ago. It's being able to make plays in critical moments each and every week. When I look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, Russell Wilson has delivered some of that. There's some optimism over what he can do. But when the game comes down to it and you have to have the ball in somebody's hands, look, I'm going to keep believing in Jaden Daniels until he gives me a reason. Otherwise, I'm saying that the Commanders win a statement game against the Pittsburgh Steelers at home, and we begin to not only talk about Jaden Daniels as the Offensive Rookie of the Year, we begin to talk about him as a serious contender to win the MVP.
Yeah, I think he might already belong in that MVP discussion with how well he's played. It's been remarkable. Really am looking forward to this ball game, though. It should be a lot of fun.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code MTS. New customers can bet just $5 to get $200 in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code MTS. The crown is yours.
Well, there you go. This is a fun one today. I got a chance to look at those recycled quarterbacks. Talked a little bit about the changes in media and scouting and how the things we're seeing on the sports world, even you see in the political landscape as well. So fun conversation. Always enjoy it. Hope you guys did as well. We'll see you next time right here on Move the Sticks.